Bethan TV for Health, it is always my pleasure to be here and be with the viewers and the listeners on different platforms that are tuned into Bethan TV for Health, because it's something that gives me a reason every evening to know that out there I have people that are listening to Back to Basics, our program, the program that basically brings different topics and issues that touch our lives. We learn from each other, we engage and discuss and share knowledge. I always say that knowledge is power. Therefore, any opportunity, any platform that gives me the opportunity to get that knowledge, to be in a position of learning, it's very important. You're very much welcome, and this is Bethan TV for Health, coming all your way on the mainstream Go TV, free to air, Star Times, but also available on different social media platforms. We have X, formerly Twitter, and then streaming live on YouTube and also www.bethantv.ug. We are also available on different mobile applications, Airtel TV, Yo TV, and also you can watch live as we take you through different topics. You're very much welcome and very excited. This year, like I always say, that we are committed to continue bringing experts and different people as we discuss and engage in different discussions. And this night, this evening specifically, I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Grace Luwale. He is a friend, but at the same time, he is my former lecturer in the class of psychology, and I must use this platform to thank you for teaching me.
Thank you very much.
Yes. But also, Doctor, he is the Reverend and the curator at the Church of the Resurrection in Bugolobi, and we are privileged to have him here and tap into his wisdom. You're very much welcome, Doctor.
Pleasure, and thank you for having me and inviting me.
Yes.
And blessed year 20. We haven't met 2020.
We haven't met in 2024.
So receive every blessing from the Lord.
Thank you very much. We last met last year, and I remember last year when we met towards the end, definitely I asked for your blessings to all our viewers, and really, our 2023 was blessed.
Thank you.
And as we start our show, I just want to use this. I know how to jump onto opportunities, also to tap into your wisdom. I know in 2023, Reverend, we had set goals and resolutions. But I must say, I don't know someone who is listening to me, but you find that not even 50% of those goals have been achieved. And somehow this puts us in a state of either confusion or failure, and sometimes we don't know how to pick up in 2021.
It is not late.
Tapping into your wide wisdom, Doctor.
When we set ambitions, like in strategic management, you have 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. If you set to buy a plot of land of 20 million, you didn't get it, but you have saved 17 million, you will complete it. The Lord is too present. So what remains clear, remain focused. Your ambition is to get a master's degree. But for some reason, you had challenges in research, your wife produced, your father fell sick. Don't give up. Be focused. And also again, we call it re-examine yourself. Why didn't you reach there? Maybe they are what you call intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic are factors from you. Intrinsic are from elsewhere. So why didn't you achieve? There could have been extrinsic factors. Bad people in the country, economy, as according to one of our ministers, to economy according to the COVID, according to those could have failed you in one or the other. Then you know them, deal with them. It could have been intrinsic from you. There is what you ought to have done, and you didn't do it. So pick up your socks, pull up your socks, pick up your stick, pick up your guns, get going.
And get going. Thank you very much. Like I said, where you get an opportunity to tap into such wisdom, we definitely do that. And
maybe also, you could also maybe need some assistance.
Some support.
Maybe you have laid on your research because you think you do it alone. Now it's the time to hear from me that maybe you now need some external assistance. Maybe you bought land from bad people, so now next time get some proper assistance in doing that. Remain focused, you'll get there.
Wow, interesting. All hope is not gone.
No, it's not.
Thank you very much. So this evening we are going to look at families. We all know that family is very important. It's a unit that actually defines a society. And then looking into families, there is quite a lot of things that we can look at. But specifically this evening, we want to dive into the differences that come from us, the main members of the family, that maybe a man, a woman, or children. But we all know that for a man and a woman, we normally meet a doctor in Uganda. Mostly you'll find that it's above 20 when a man meets maybe a woman and agree into making a family.
And that's the law is 18 years and above.
18 years and above.
So it can't be 11.
It can't be 11. So all those years, someone has gone through things. We are born differently. And you find that these different human beings must come into one as is in Genesis and live as one person. But sometimes we've seen there are things that come in out of the differences we have amongst ourselves, and this affects different spheres of the family setup. So tonight, we want to look deeper with a doctor in the studio and discuss different temperaments and how we can appreciate our differences in order to have a successful family. So the topic tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is understanding or appreciating different temperaments in our families. And we are with the doctor here. I know these words, temperaments, to some of us might sound a bit big, but do not worry. That's why we are here. And I'll start by asking Doctor, what do we understand by temperaments?
Temperament, I'll use a few words of psychology, simply means that aspect of personality, or an aspect of personality which deals with our emotional disposition, how we react to things, the speed and the intensity. I'm trying to say, a person called Dr. Luval, myself,
yes,
I am a composition of several things. One of them is called temperament. It deals with that aspect of my personality, how I react, relate, my emotions, how I react to things in the society and in the world. And so various people react to things differently.
And that's a fact of life.
Not only a fact of life, you could even try to expand and say that's how God has designed it. Because temperaments are not simply got on the way. They start to be genetic. They have an element of genes. We are, when we have been conceived in our mother's womb, we start to develop. So temperaments start from there. Then when we are born, as we continue to live in various environments, they are shaped accordingly. So it's God's design, it is nature, it's natural, and it's also by the factors, environment in which where we live. Precisely, I'm simply saying, temperament is that ability, that aspect of personality,
yes,
which is in us, not elsewhere. Let me repeat that. That personality is within us, in you, not in your wife, not in your mother. The way you deal with the things is a function, a result of what you are. And that what you are, the emotion is in you, determine then how you react to things. And I said, they start from being genetic, the way we have been born, but they are also a result of the way we have been raised, the way we have been educated, the way we have been nurtured, the way we have been mentored throughout our lifetime.
Your lifetime. Thank you, Doctor. Is there, I know some of these terms sometimes may not have kind of how they can be explained in our local languages. Naye mu Luganda, omuntu gaba kubuuzizza temperament.
Temperament mu Luganda oba mu Lunyankole oba mu Lunyakitalo oba mu in our general local setting,
yes.
Yengeri omuntu jaddamu oba engeri omuntu bwe yeeyisa bwaddamu ku nsonga ezibeerawo mu ddiiro. That's a very good word. Ezibeerawo mu ki? Mu ddiiro, because deal is where we sit, but beyond where we sit, a deal is all our environment. So
yes.
mu mbeera ze tubeeramu ez'obuntu n'obulamu bwe tubeera muno, ebintu bingi bye tuyitamu. Kati temperament yengeri gwe gy'oddamu ebintu ebyo ku speedi nnyo, mpola mpola bw'otyo, ye kituyita temperament. Era nga bw'okyogera in the context as persones at places of work gye tukolera, abantu beeyisa mu ngeri ya njawulo. Mu maka since we are talking about more of family, omukazi n'omwami nga bafumirwa gena, bombi baba ne temperaments, engeri gye baddamu ku bintu ebibasanze mu ddiiro, abasinga obungi zitakuba za njawulo. Wadde abamu ziyinza okuba zikwatagana, naye ngera eno tulina okujjukira nti Katonda tatondako omuntu duplicate. Katonda buli muntu yamutondanga is one complete original. Nyinza bwa kwefaananizaamuko 60, 70, 50, 40, naye teri muntu nti ali 10 ku 10 ku munne. Buli muntu ekitegeeza ali kule.
Even your child will never be
absolutely you. As I talk to you, I am a father of 4 children.
Yes.
They just seem to resemble me. Mu ngeri gye nkuze nabo, gye mbeera nabo, kati eriyo embeera zange ze baagala, ze bataagala. So nga bongera okukula ne gye basomera, they get theirs.
And some of the things like the natural talents, definitely you'll find now.
So we have about 4.
You have never kicked football.
Yes.
Now if you can find your child becomes a Ronaldo.
Absolutely. So we generally have about 4 types of temperament.
But before Dr. going to that, definitely we are coming to that. If I call temperaments behavior, like the way one behaves, am I wrong?
Behavior kigambo kinene engeri omuntu gyeyisa yonna. Naye era igamba nti temperament is an aspect of behavior. Kubanga behavior kinene muko, naye mu ngeri gye tweyisaamu mwe muli temperament omwo. Kale basically temperament yengeri omuntu ekigambo kikuyandibadde reaction. Ebintu nga bize mu ddiiro, ebintu nga bikusanze mu nsi gye tubeera, mu maka gye tukolera, gye tutambulira, gye tubeera, political, economic, social, poverty, kuzaala baana, butazaala, ebintu ebyo, how do we react? Engeri gye tuddamu kye bayita temperament, an aspect of personality.
Perfect. Doctor, just conclude on that and maybe with an example. Onyonyodeku the way we react, no leta mu speed, ne intensity. Mu families affair, I know there is a lot. Can we have like an example that we can use to kind of give more body and
tukeera ku makya nga omwami n'omukyala bafumbo, omwana waabwe n'afuna olubuto. Your daughter is pregnant.
Before marriage.
Another example can be your son abye embuzi y'abantu ku luguudo. So ne babagamba. Now the father says, ogwana bagusibe, seetagagaana ago. That's how he has reacted. Eri mama mwana wange banange.
That's a different reaction.
So you are, the thing is the same. Omwana wamwe mwaba muzaala. You are both the parents. Bamusanze mu bubbi. So you have been informed.
Yes.
Eri father, tata, ogwana be put in prison. That's how he has acted. Eri mama, eri chairman, I have some mic got here and now. So we are reacting.
That's it.
Omwana wa metasomie. You have taken your kid to school.
Yes.
Ne musasula sente kakadde kalamba. Mugenda okubuza report nga teriyo. Maybe mama. Boy stubborn, put him here. Eri daddy,
beats.
Daddy. Katwetegereze ensonga zino. Oba yinza okubayo n'ensonga. Katwetegereze. So mulala ali mu kwetegereza, mulala agala kukubirawo butereevu.
Kitegete.
So kyengambe nti it is about reaction. Kale abantu abamu they are relaxed. Tugenda tunalaba mukama bw'anaatwolesa, abalala there and then, abalala so that's the point of
that's the point. Thank you very much. I think it's very, very...
And therefore, even when you're at home, emere esirid. Okay?
Yes.
So now what? The father, no, muleke. The mother, no. And mwana mwigiza okufumba, namugamba kula what? Kana gwe totegera, boom. Akuva ebigamba asatu in 1 second. The father, no, just relax.
Oba omunyo mungi omukyala yafumbye waliwo abasajja bakuba abakyala nti omunyo mungi.
Like now, why do we fight even in a home? It is that one. Kubanga
yes.
Omukyala wamugambye tugenda mu town. Like now I came to this station.
Yes.
So I spoke to my wife, let me come to this station. I said we shall leave home at 9.
Yes.
Now, of course she was ready at 9, we moved. But now omulala omugambye 9. By 9:30 tali ready. Kali ne mutandika. But I told you. Nemogera. Abalala? Kale maliza wanaba mazenga
tugenda.
So you are reacting differently on the same thing. That's temperament. Engage tuddamu mu ngeri ebyo tusanga.
Thank you very much. That is a very thorough explanation and example. So take us into these different types.
Now, basically, mu psychology, what this about? Usoma kumbera z'obuntu zibera psychology. The understanding abantu engage balimu. So basically, tulina nga bintu nga bina. Olwo tuyita sanguine, naye mu bifunza kyagamba nti be bantu abali social, abantu abangu aboogera bulungi, people oriented people. Buli kintu kibasanyusa bali mu bantu awo. Kati bwe gabeera maka nga muyinza okwaka ng'omukyala yaniriza abagenyi. Mbadde nfensa okulaba mulimu ti you, how are you, fine needs. The man, how are you, how can I help you? So people who are in that one. Then is what we call melancholic. These are people who are very analytical.
Kasokemko tunyumye katuna kusangwini. Engeri gy'okyogeddemu how especially if it's now the man in a more relaxed kind of mood. Waliwo kino kyetuwulira and actually sometimes it disturbs families nga other people, society nga boogera omukyala joga yakola decisions omusajja musirise.
Exactly kyekyo. Anti mubeera waka ng'omwami ye ebintu byabikwata mpola eri omukyala bintu bya speed. So one way of managing a home, you both can't work at the same pace. Kati omu I know kuwa omulala space. So maybe omwami naawe omukyala space. Kati nga gwowulira ayogera asalawo y'omukyala omwami relax. That's a personality in reacting to things in the home. So sanguine basically be bantu, call them people oriented people, bantu bali awo balungi, social, optimistic. Tujja kuwangula tukitwala kyaffe mukama baziwe mukyala tofaayo tujja kikolako. Available tubayita abantu ba air bali mu gulu. You see air, you have enough space in the air.
Yes.
So teri kyewalikiriza. Abala bayita melancholic be bana abantu very analytical. We normally say they are very intelligent. The daddy twinako going meeting to town. What's the meeting? What is it about? What are you going to do? What are you going to achieve? No, so kano ebuzo chikumi.
The white people.
The white people. So no ebuzo chikumi yawo. Sibyagamba. That we have a shop. We have a shop. How much money? Sende tazikuwa buya.
Mwana bwaba performance bubi bwagamba perform badly, they must ask why.
Explain, you must explain. Era wabera tugambe obanga mwami wo gwomukyala ngo yagala kumujjako sente tomugambe daddy food is over. Explain, give accountability. Since naleka ne mitwalo 10. Where is accountability? Neri ubomanya abami oba abakyala ziwedo zizo kati abagambe basanguini buli kintu kiri well. kati melancholic abantu biri analytical. They are quite often quiet people. Nebantu bansi very analytical. Bantu bagezi bintu babi. The other group can.
Doctor, before you go to another group, those are two we've seen. You had said you've kind of categorized into 4. Katsoke tugende break, and then when we come, we speak on the other 2, on the remaining 2, and then we continue to discuss how they family and how to deal with them. But ladies and gentlemen, very interesting and insightful discussions around understanding different temperaments in our families.
Amen.
Believe it, they are there. And like how Doctor says, these are things that is according to God's design. And therefore, the only thing we need to do is to appreciate and understand each other, which we are trying to discuss and build into. For now, let's have a very short break, and we'll come back afterwards. Okay, we'll come back from that break. In the break, I was here chatting with the doctor in the same direction and talking about how we meet our spouses. You've met someone at 25 years, doctor, and she has studied from a different schools, right from primary, has different friends, has gone through different stages, and has met different people, who has passed through different experiences for cool 25 or 30 years, because in most cases those are the ages when we go to when we get married. But then you assume that now that I've acquired Madam this one, we are the same. And he was saying that's a grave mistake. Definitely we'll get back more to that. But for now, for the break, we are looking at the different categories of temperaments, and the doctor had given us 2. We'll continue and finish the 2, and then we discuss the impact and how we can appreciate these different temperaments. Reverend?
Yes, I said number 1 was sanguine. Those are people who are in air. They are available, they are social, they are people-oriented. Then melancholic, quiet, very analytical, and they are often intelligent. We are going to town. What are you going to do? What's the output? What show? What transport costs? So we are together.
Even when you say to Itewa, no, why are we
not
passing
this
here? Why not this direction?
Then you have chloric. Chloric bebantu boita short tempered. Katononga yatabuse da no kumulinya ko bulinya kano nakufuma ebigamba 3. You know. And then so even in a home, recognize that there are people may be short-tempered. So ibintu byabwe tugamba they are like in fire. Ibintu katono wekato something small, and many couples struggle with this. You find a couple often quarreling almost every day. Whenever the man comes or the woman, it's one never tabula, is plate this home. Why you didn't mop here? Simply one title is not mopped and a war start. Because they are maybe largely short-tempered.
Yes.
Phlegmatic, these are people who are relaxed, peaceful. God is able, the nature will take care. The child is sick, relax, handle. They are not in a hurry.
They are not in a hurry.
Not in a hurry. So I want to make our listeners to benefit that no one possesses one single quality of these. We actually have all of them. God didn't create a person that is short-tempered 100%. It is the degree, intensity, the speed. Those are the words I want to. The degree, the intensity, the speed at which you react. So some people become more short-tempered, others more peaceful, others withdraw, others quiet, others analytical, others people-oriented. It is those are the different. So
it's a blend.
It is that one of these is a more dominant.
Okay.
But we have all of them in our makeup. But one seems to be more dominant. Now, the critical point then there is, so if you are married and you are at a home,
Yes.
What then we should be able to do? First, if you are listening to this show and wherever you are, please recognize that God makes one original. So no one is a duplicate of the other. And for that reason, no one would resemble the other 100%. So if you get married, if you're a woman and you get married, and your father was very kind and very quiet, don't assume that even your husband has to be like that. Or you have produced a son. You look at the father, your husband, very analytical man. And then the son is the opposite. So don't say, don't start DNA problems.
By just looking at the different
don't go for that.
Emotions.
So, people who are married, I want to make about 4 points for you. Number one is that we marry strangers. We don't marry people we have been living with. Because that's how structure of marriage was made.
Yes.
Genesis chapter 2 verse 24. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother. The word there, underline leave.
Is leave.
So you leave your father and mother and get a person of your choice and start a family. So you don't start around there. You leave.
You leave.
Look somebody else and start a family. That presupposes clearly, therefore, that we marry people we didn't live and grow with. In any case, you can say whose genes are far from ours. Because in science, we insist don't marry people who are near you. Because of a gene factor and others. So we often have to marry people who are a little bit far from you. So point one, having known that you married a stranger who is not your blood close relative, and then point one, recognize that these differences in personalities exist. Where people are more sociable, sanguine, others are short-tempered, others are flagrant, they are just peaceful. They are not in a hurry, always well. Others are too analytical. So, if you now get married to your husband or your wife and you now be interested to recognize what is he more likely. Yes. So you now discover that he's more analytical, is where then. So the first point, that recognize that we are not the same. Recognize that. So now number two, when you recognize that, then you go to now number two, what do you do? Either you learn to adjust, you learn to teach him that that way is not a good way. I think this is a good one. And please, when you are teaching him, it may take 10 years to learn. Don't die. Don't think that you are going to change your personality next week after wedding. Some things may take 1 year, others 10 years, and others 20. So
after wedding,
you don't think after wedding, by tomorrow you'll have changed. No.
Who has been like that for?
So just recognize that there are differences. Number two, now you learn to live with that person. If the person is analytical, then improve on your skills of being analytical as well. So that if you say, we are going to Kamuli district, why are you going there? So have answers. You have, so be able to explain, have answers. If your wife is relaxed, just peaceful, you want to move things very fast, says, wait a minute. Then you need to learn to live with that person so that you don't have quarrels every day. So the point is recognize. After you recognize, now number two, you now learn to live. And learning to live means to adjust. It means to ignore. Even to work create space. It means smoothing. Some things, you look at the larger picture. The larger what?
The larger picture.
A larger picture. The son went stealing and he maybe stole. Now, this is your son, not someone's son.
Yes.
Now look at the larger picture. And lastly, sometimes we may need to guidance and counseling. That's why we are here. Sometimes the one I'm now talking, sharing on television, I hope there's one I'm helping there. But even when you come to my church or another pastor or teacher, people, counselors, we often speak and say, there is a possibility that people can change. But I want the people to know that it is not tomorrow. It takes a process. That process may be 1 week, maybe 1 month. Like now, people, for example, are analytical. Should you give him good reasons, he will change his mind. Because for him, his challenge is that he wants to be convinced on the position. So it's not just being rigid. He wants the reasons. You find that they are peaceful, you can live with them very well. If people feel good about themselves, learn to live with them. You'll make a difference out of them. So, precisely in the fellowship of today, as we share,
yes,
there are differences in personalities, which arise primarily from genes. They are genetic. Then they are nurtured in the environment we live.
Yes.
And people even choose to nurture them and make them their habit. So when we get married, we should recognize that these happen. Now that you are married now, recognize that, and then now learn how to live with that person.
Yes.
By teaching him what you think maybe is right, by adjusting, by being flexible, by smoothing, learning to do with the larger picture, and working together. Along that way, people are peaceful. So the couples you see which are peaceful like mine, because my wife is here around,
yes,
it is not that we have the same personality. We are peaceful because we have learned to live together. Let me repeat that. My wife and my children, my home is one of the peaceful homes in around in the community.
Not because you have the same personality.
That's the point. It is not because we are twins. It is not because that our parents are the same. It is not because we have the same personality. The peace with my wife and my children is that we have learned to live together, having recognized the differences among us.
Wow. That's very interesting and great sharing, Doctor. I think it's a learning point for most of us. And you've really summarized well on what we can do in the simplest terms. But then I just want to ask you this. In our societies and in respect to temperaments and differences that we possess, where do you see, or what are the common mistakes that families have, that families do in respect to differences and appreciating differences that have actually led to families breaking up, separation, divorce, and unresolved conflicts, whereby even people now use social media to post some of the misunderstandings, and there's even the legal kind of approach, and etc., or others have just kept quiet. So what are some of those mistakes that we see are arising out of the differences or inability to appreciate those different temperaments in our families?
The mistakes may be like three. First is people being selfish. Is for people to think about themselves and not care about others, and wanting to fix others in their own position 100%. And that's a big mistake. When you get married, marriage is a companion, is about sharing. Now, when you go with your fixed position, I am the wife, if I cook matoke, is what you must eat. Now the man is talking about some kalo. Don't talk. Now, how
I am the wife.
How are we going to live every day when we are calling like that? So it's about being selfish. When people are egocentric, thinking only about themselves. So people listening to us, please, if you are married and you haven't produced children, do not be selfish. You will kill that marriage. Because people can't fit in your shoes 100%. It's impossible.
They can't be you.
No. And why should they be you? They also have good things to offer. If I can't dance and my daughter can dance, now why should I think no one should dance? I could easily become the father of the best dancer in Uganda. Yeah. So don't fix. So point of selfishness is what I see. People are selfish. They want what all they think is what they want the other couple, the other spouse, the other child, the other member, the other maid to fit in their shoes.
And I think, Doctor, you've raised a very important and issue of selfishness. Do you think it kind of sometimes relates from the culture, our culture, whereby people who are more oriented, who are still oriented to culture and have not actually broken free to appreciate the culture, but also know the modernization kind of adoption to marriage, still think like a man is the alpha and omega in a home, and therefore the things I said, no one should do or bring different opinions. Do you think there is that kind of thinking that has also contributed to selfishness?
Yes and no. Maybe yes on the larger side. Outside, like in Uganda and Africa, and the whole world, we call it a patriarchal society, which means male-dominated. So there is a point in male dominance, but there are equally women who are selfish. So let me not go into those terms. The point is, it is being selfish. Whether it is the woman who is selfish,
or the man,
whether it is the man. The point is failure to recognize that marriage is a partnership.
Okay.
In which, when we start the mathematics, what we call complementary angles, they add up to 90. So when we are doing math in P1 and P5 and P6, they say, draw an angle of 30. So when you put a protractor, if this is 30, the other must be 60 to make 90. So if the other is 30 and the other is 57, you have got it wrong.
You've got it wrong.
Any woman married should see that the husband is a complementary. And the husband should see this woman as a complementary. And therefore remove selfishness and learn to live with each other. If we do so, we are able to overcome these temperaments and the challenges.
Wow.
If we don't do so, we remain in our comfort zones and fighting every day. The other point is the way we are socialized.
Yes.
Socialization. When children are not exposed to very many things, the schools we attend, the parents we have, the community we do. Now, so we're bringing a point of culture where maybe boys are socialized to be more superior than girls. So by the time they even marry, they think they are powerful. So by the time they form a family, they want to put all the ideas there. So socialization, the way people are socialized, the way people are brought up, that may contribute to the fightings in the home now in view of temperaments. Because if they have told you, like in Luganda tugamba, atugamba nti oyo Lubaale yafunye omufumbi w'ettooke. A woman is described as one to cook matoke. So a man Lubaale awasiza omufumbi w'ettooke. Omuntu w'okufumba amatooke. Kitegeeza nti Lubaale takyafumba. Nafunye omuki?
Omufumbi.
Now, this is socialization. So you now get someone's daughter, you start a home, nenga mbongo agambye tugwe ebyokufumba n'ebyamaka tebikukwatako. So one day your wife is sick, is able to cook, tuyagala nakumanya. You start, that's the beginning of quarrels now. So it goes back, the way we are socialized can create differences in home, and so our temperaments may grow and we can get off that one. And then the last one is lack of guidance and counseling, in particular when people are getting married. I have been a priest for a very long time, and I've also lived for some time. I'm soon becoming a senior citizen. But theirs have been partially a priest.
God for that.
They have been a priest, for example. Mba nsomesa abagole. Their focus is on the wedding and the wedding meetings than what I'm telling them. So many people lack guidance and counseling. Balina obudde bungi okuteeka mu mbaga, okuteeka mu ssente, okulaba who is the MC. Era kati nga nze omwawule n'ogatta abagole, they cannot even afford transport of 50,000 bazerabira. Kyokka nga MC agenda okwogera ebigambo budget $5,000. MC agenda okola ki service provider gundi. So the focus is on the event of the wedding. than after the wedding.
The
focus on the event. So when the wedding is now done,
the reality sets in.
The reality sets in. So many people lack guidance or they have insufficient. One, we may have few counselors of my quality and others, but also the people don't want to come for counseling.
The willingness to
you'll find that
support. And
I am at a church, you tell them, they say, today we have a wedding meeting. Today we have lost here. Our conjurer is near. We are buying clothing. So people may get married. People may get married when they have not been properly counseled. And part of the counseling we do with temperament. It constitutes a big fraction of the counseling we do at church. Learn to live with each other. So precisely when people get married, they could be struggling from selfishness, the way they have been socialized, and lack of guidance and counseling.
Yes.
So which hampers. So when these temperaments now come, people are not able to react to them professionally, maturely, and eventually fightings ensue, and eventually homes are not well.
Wow. Thank you very much, Doctor. As we try to wind up, we've largely talked about a man and a woman. I just want to bring in, as we conclude, just on the issue of children. You've clearly brought it out that everyone is born differently and we have different talents and behaviors and unique characters. So you'll find that as we parent in our families, these children show different characters and behaviors. And in most cases, you find the way how parents react to such children behaviors, yes, can either shape them or restrict them. What advice do you give generally as we try to wind up and conclude?
The way I've been talking at the same points, the way you should deal with your wife is the way you should deal with your children, by recognizing that they are of different temperaments. And I think temperament is an aspect of personality. In short, everyone has his own personality, which arises from first primary genetics, how we've been, the way we are conceived, born, and the environment we are living in. So the most important thing for a father or a mother, bigger sister, bigger brother, maid, and siblings, is to recognize that we are not 100% the same. So, what then are we? Some people are more analytical, some are more quiet, some are more humble, some are more diplomatic, so these, now all of us were in the same family. So when you recognize that, then you now learn to live with those people. So you learn to live with your son, who is quiet. So you learn to live with him. So now, how do we communicate to people who are quiet so that we get output from them? Because people are quiet, if you communicate to them and too much and putting your force, they will just look at you.
They will withdraw.
Yes. So then you must have a communication to people who are very quiet, if that is your son. If your son is so talkative, people-oriented, you are here, the other one is here, all the neighbors know him, everywhere, then how do you communicate with such a person?
Yes.
That's the point I'm saying. Recognize that we are not the same, and now learn to live with your children, with your wife, by adjusting, by being flexible, by adopting what is necessary, by guidance and counseling, by saying, if you think, for example, the behavior is too much, say, my son, that's not right. Now, and it may also differ. Some people may speak politely and they have understood. Others may need to shout. Others may need to threaten with chiboko. So, the issue is that be interested in output, final results of your son, of your daughter. Once you know that they are different, learn to communicate to them in the language they best understand. You will get output out of them.
Wow. I think that's very important. I actually wanted to bring in communication, but it's good you've kind of touched it, because you see that in all these things and these differences, if you actually don't recognize, like you said, then there would be a breakdown in communication. And I think that would be the start of issues in the family. And again, as we conclude, you've dealt with couples and who are going into family, and it all starts with maybe dating, courtship, and then counseling, and then they get married. There's this thinking that I can change you. I have realized that you're different, and I'm not ready to recognize and accommodate you, but I'm like, anyway, I have realized that Dr. Luar is like this and this, but then as we get married, I'm going to change that person to be my temperament. What do you comment on that?
That's dangerous.
on that
In fact, when I'm teaching in church, I call it a combination of PCM. Physics, chemistry, math. Preach, convert, marry.
Yes.
Physics, chemistry, math. Preach, convert, and marry. And I keep saying that's a dangerous combination and very hard. And then as PCM in this all unities.
Yes.
Me, I think that people should look for those they want to marry, recognize that you're looking for a woman or for a man.
Yes.
Have minimum standards of the person you can marry. So therefore, gauge and estimate how much they do and they react. Once you get the basics and you get married,
yes,
and we have given the counseling and you have had the work been shared on this important television, then learn to live slow but surely by recognizing that we are not the same,
yes,
but we should adjust to enable us live quietly.
Wow.
And I've said all couples you see which are successful, like mine and others, we didn't go to heaven first and we came back. Neither do we marry our sister. It is not even just by miracles. We have intentionally chosen to live together,
yes,
worked on our differences, recognize them respectfully, and live on well.
And live on well. Thank you very much, Doctor. And we've come to the end of our show. Very, very insightful. And yes, as we conclude, definitely, I always tap into Reverend's blessings. We can have a prayer as we close our session.
Thank you, our viewers and listeners. The point today was the different temperaments. So in our community, in our society, in the world, God has created us differently. Your children, your wife, your husband, they are differently created. They react to issues differently. Therefore, recognize that and learn to live with them, because those are your people. You'll be peaceful. Successful homes and couples is not by magic. It's by choice to choose to live together by accepting each other, acknowledging our strengths and weaknesses, our success and failures, and we choose to live together. We'll make a successful family and raising children. Okay. Gracious Father, full of grace and mercy, we thank you for the gift of life. And the people listening to us, who have been able to listen to us, I pray that you bless them. And that in this year 2024, we pray that they recognize their different temperaments, different personalities, and learn to live together. Because God, in your choice, you have made us differently. And then a couple struggling, I pray for a blessing of peace, a blessing of quietness, and a blessing of reflection. And the blessing of Almighty God the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit be with you all. Keep you, empower you, strengthen you, grant you to live together in harmony, and make a good home now and always.
Amen. This is Back to Basics, and bye for now. We'll meet next time.